So types of RNA, there are 3 different types of RNA. The first one is mRNA, which is called as messenger RNA. The second one is tRNA, which is called as transfer RNA. And the third one is rRNA, which is called as ribosomal RNA. Right? Out of these 3, the highest, okay, the highest number of RNAs which are present are rRNAs. So the more rRNAs will be present in the cell as compared to the tRNA and the mRNA. So we'll see the all types of RNAs in detail. Okay, structurally, functionally, all 3 types of RNAs are different. The first type of RNA, that is mRNA, which is also called as messenger RNA. It is called as messenger RNA. Why do we call it as messenger RNA? That is because it carries the code or the message which is required to code the protein or to produce a protein. So the central dogma of the molecular biology says that the first process is replication and then the transcription and then the translation should happen. So replication is duplication of the DNA. So now when we have the DNA, that is, so 5 prime to 3 prime and 3 prime to 5 prime. So this is the DNA. Okay, this is DNA. Now the 5 prime and the 3 prime DNA is always called as coding strand. It is always called as coding strand. 3 prime to 5 prime is called as template strand. It is called as template strand. Now, out of this, that is the coding and template strand, always the template strand will participate in transcription. Remember this, the template strand will participate in the transcription. Now, this template strand will have a complementary strand which is an RNA. So that complementary strand which is produced here, the complementary strand which is produced to this will be RNA, and that RNA is called as the mRNA. That RNA is called as mRNA, and this is 3 prime to 5 prime. Then what should be the orientation of this mRNA? It should be 5 prime to 3 prime. Okay, it should be 5 prime to the 5 prime to 3 prime orientation. However, so this sequence or this orientation is very, very important. You cannot use the coding strand for the transcription. So never ever the coding strand can be used for the transcription. But then why is the name given as coding strand? Right? That is because actual code, what is required for the protein synthesis is present on the coding strand only. Namge code ಏನು ಬೇಕಾಗಿರತ್ತಲ್ಲ protein na form ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ನಮಗೆ coding strand ಮೇಲೆನೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Now let us see here. We will think it has A, T, G, G, C, C. This is the code required for the synthesis of the protein. Okay. Now on the template strand, what should be present? Either complementary ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? Either complementary ನಮಗೆ A ಇದ್ರೆ T ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ A ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ C, C, G, G. ಇದು strand, complementary strand. ಹೌದಾ? ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ಈ ಕೋಡ್ ಬೇಕು. This code is required for the protein synthesis. If in case this participates in the transcription, okay, if this participates in the transcription, the mRNA will be produced as instead of thymine, uracil will be present. U, A, C, C, G, G. This is the mRNA code. Okay. Now, if the template strand participates in the transcription, in that case, what will be the code? The code is U G G C C. Now, out of this DNA, out of these two strands of DNA, which code is required for the protein synthesis? Which code is required for the protein synthesis? This or this? This is required for the protein synthesis. Now, among the mRNAs, where do we have this code? Where do we have this code here in the mRNA? Ellide code ellide? Huh? This or this? This. This is also mRNA only. Okay, this is also RNA, this is also RNA. Which RNA strand is carrying the code? This strand is carrying the code, and this strand is coming from the template strand. If you use the coding strand directly, you will get a different code and the protein will be different. So, you should use the template strand. When you use a template strand as a complementary RNA, you will get this sequence. And this sequence is required for the protein synthesis. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ನಮಗೆ 2 strands of DNA ಇದೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಈ 2 strands of DNA ದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್, ಒಂದು ಟೆಂಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸಿ, ಇದು ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್, ಇದು ಟೆಂಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್. ನಾವು ಈ 2 ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇವಾಗ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ನಮಗೆ ಏನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಇದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಗೆಟ್ adenine ಗೆ thymine ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟರಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಇನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ thymine uracil will be present. So U A C C G G. ಇದು 5 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಟು 3 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು 3 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಟು 5 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಈಗ ಟೆಂಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ? ಟೆಂಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎ ಯು ಜಿ ಜಿ ಸಿ ಸಿ, ಇದು 3 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಟು 5 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು 5 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಟು 3 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಸಿಂಥಸಿಸ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಕೋಡ್ ಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ? ಆ ಕೋಡ್ ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ 5 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಟು 3 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಮೇಲೆನೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. 5 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ 3 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕೋಡ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ 5 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ 3 ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ನಾವು ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಈ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬರೋ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಯಾವುದು? ಇದು. ಈ ಕೋಡು ಸೇಮಾ? ನೋ, ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗೋಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್? ಅದೇ ನಾವು ಟೆಂಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬರೋ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟರಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಸೇಮ್ ಆಗತ್ತಲ್ಲ. So the template strand participates in the transcription. Okay, and always we require 5 prime to 3 prime. Even now ಇದನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ 3 prime to 5 prime ಆಗತ್ತೆ. We cannot use this strand. ಅದೇ ಇದನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕೋಡು ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತು 5 prime 3 prime strand ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. So this strand is obtained by the template strand. This strand is obtained by template. Now template anta yaudana karitivi? What do we call as a template? Anything which is acting as a reference is called as a template. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? ಈಗ ನಾವೇನೊಂದು ವೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರಿಂಗ್ ದ ವೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ವೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ವಿ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ಪ್ರಿಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಶಾಪ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಹಿಮ್ ಟು ಶೋ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಟೆಂಪ್ಲೇಟ್ಸ್. ರೈಟ್? ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದ್ 4 ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ 4 ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಏನು? ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್, ಟೆಂಪ್ಲೇಟ್ಸ್. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? ಅದೇ ತರ ಅದು ಹೆಂಗಿದೆಯೋ ಅದ್ರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ಲಿ ಹಿಯರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಟೆಂಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್. ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ to produce this strand we are using this as a template or a reference strand. Hence we call it as a template, and because it is carrying the code for the protein synthesis, it is called as a coding strand. Now this mRNA which we have obtained has a very specific structure. The basic structure remains the same. Okay, the basic structure remains the same. In both prokaryotes and the eukaryotes, only the translating region will be different in the prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So we'll see one very common structure of the mRNA now. So usually mRNA will be starting from this 5 prime, and at the 5 prime end of the mRNA, at the 5 prime end of the mRNA, there is always a cap present. There is always a methyl cap. So you guys have studied it in the capping and polyadenylation, RNA processing, right? Splicing, capping, and the tailing, right? So or polyadenylation. So these three you guys have studied in the RNA processing. Anyways, we'll again study that in the detail in your syllabus also, right? So at the 5 prime end, we have a methylated guanine cap. We have a methylated guanine cap present here at the 5 prime end. So soon after this, okay, soon after this methylated guanine cap, okay, this is a methylated guanine cap. After this, we have one sequence, okay, we have one sequence which is usually called as UTR, which is usually called as UTR. After the UTR, we have a long coding sequence. First, I'll draw the structure and then we'll go for the explanation part by part. Okay, and after this, we again have an UTR. UTR, and after the UTR, we again have the tail. We have the 3 prime, okay, 3 prime tail is present. So now let us speak about the parts one by one. So here, this part, we call it as a methylated guanine cap. Methylated guanine cap. So however, ಮೆಥೈಲೇಷನ್ ಹೆಂಗಾಗತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಂಗ್ ಹೆಂಗಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓದೋಣ. Okay, in detail the process of how it gets capped, how it gets methylated and capped, so that we'll study in the capping process. After that, we have this UTR. UTR means untranslated region. UTR means untranslated region. UTR, these are not translated. They do not undergo translation. Okay, they do not undergo translation. Which part is undergoing translation is this part. This part will be undergoing the translation. So this translation ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಈ part ನ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, we call this as the coding region. We call this as the coding region. So this coding region, in case of prokaryotes, I'll write it upside, okay. In case of prokaryotes, it will be having only exons. It will be having only exons. Whereas in case of eukaryotes, it will be having both exons and introns. It will be having both exons and introns. Now, what are exons and what are introns? Exons are the coding sequences. Introns are the non-coding sequences. In case of eukaryotic mRNA, Before the transcription, we study three processing stages. One is the capping, another one is tailing, and the third one is the splicing of the introns. So, introns will be removed and exons will be joined to form a coding sequence, and then the translation will begin. Okay. So now, in case of the prokaryotes, we have only exons, so there is no splicing happening here. In case of eukaryotes, we have both exons and introns, so introns should be removed and exons should be joined to form a coding sequence to undergo the translation. After this, we again have a UTR. Okay. So now, this UTR which is present here, we call this as a, I'll write it here, leader sequence. We call this as a leader sequence, and this UTR is called as a trailer sequence. This UTR is called as a trailer sequence. So what is the significance of this UTRs? ಯಾಕೆ ನಮಗೆ UTRs ಬೇಕು? Why do we need these UTRs to be present? The significance of the untranslated region is these sequences, okay, these sequences will usually allow the rRNA, okay, they'll allow the ribosomes or the rRNA to specifically find out the sequence during the translation process. As well, they also help in the protection of the mRNA molecule. Okay, and then we have the 3' which is called as a tail or the polyadenyl tail or the A tail. Okay, we call it as A tail. So how is the tailing done? So this also we'll study in the RNA processing in detail. Okay, how is the capping done and how is the tailing done? So we call this as poly A tail. We call it as a poly A tail, and this is called as a methylated guanine cap. Okay, so this is the structure of the mRNA. So the main function of the mRNA is it carries the message, it carries the code for the translation process. Okay, clear? Huh? Yes. So rRNA, we have already seen the mRNA in the previous class, which is the messenger RNA, and the messenger RNA will constitute 5% of the total RNA present in the cell or the body, right? Now, coming to the rRNA, rRNA, which is called as ribosomal RNA. rRNA is also called as ribosomal RNA. So this constitutes for around 80% of the total RNA. It constitutes of 80% of the total RNA. 5% was mRNA. 80% is the rRNA present. Now, where exactly we see this rRNA? So, rRNA is usually part of the ribosome. Okay, the rRNA is usually part of the ribosome. Hence, we call it as a ribosomal RNA itself. So, in a ribosome, 60% is the RNA. 60% is the RNA and remaining 40% will be protein. 40% will be the protein. Okay. So the rRNA will usually be a part of the ribosome, and in a ribosomal structure, 60% will be the RNA and remaining 40% will be the proteins. Now coming to the structure. Structure of the RNA. See, rRNA is having three structures. Okay, the three structures are progressive. The progressive means First, it begins with a primary structure and then it goes to a secondary structure and then it goes to a tertiary structure. So firstly, primary structure. So we'll first speak about the primary structure. So primary structure, it is just linear structure. So linear structure means, so if this is an ribonucleotide, it is just bound to the another ribonucleotide like this in a chain format. So this structure we call it as a linear structure. So usually RNAs will be single stranded. So RNAs, very rarely we get to see the double stranded RNA structures. RNAs will always be single stranded. If the RNA becomes double stranded, it is immediately digested by the RNase enzyme. If in case RNA becomes double stranded, it is immediately digested by RNase enzyme. You had studied the antisense RNA technology. If you remember in your class 12, you had studied the antisense RNA interference, right? RNA interference, it was an example for the pest management, right? It was example for the pest management. RNA interference ಹೋಗಿದ್ರಿ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಓದ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ ಡಬಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡೆಡ್ RNA ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಡಬಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡೆಡ್ RNA ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದು ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಯಾಕೆ ಡಬಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡ್ RNA ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ದಿ RNA, ಡಬಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡೆಡ್ RNA ನ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಡಬಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡೆಡ್ RNA ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ದಿ RNA ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಡೆಡ್. Okay, so the primary structure is the linear structure and all these ribonucleotides, okay, all these ribonucleotides, they are bound by phosphodiester bonds. They are bound by phosphodiester bonds. Okay, this is the primary structure, very simple structure. Then coming to the secondary structure. In case of secondary structure, these ribonucleotides will start forming certain shapes. The shapes are stem and loop shape, stem and loop shapes, or bulges, or the bulges. So stem and loop shapes ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಹಿಂಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಹಿಂಗಿರೋ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹಿಂಗಿರೋ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಉದ್ದ ಇರೋ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಹಿಂಗಾದಾಗ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬೇಸಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನಮಗ್ ಬೇಸಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಈಗ ಬೈ ಎನಿ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ if this was A, if this was A, and if this was U, if this was G, and if this was C, and if this was C, and if this was G, these will attach, and these will attach by the hydrogen bonds and form a stem-like structure. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ಲೀನಿಯರ್ ಇರೋ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ತರ ಲೀನಿಯರ್ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದ ಚೈನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಬೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಕ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾಯಿಲ್ ಆಗಕ್ ಶುರು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕಾಯಿಲಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರೋ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೈ ಎನಿ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟರಿ ಬೇಸಸ್ ಹತ್ರಕ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ, ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಲೀನಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್. ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡರಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್, this linear structure will start forming the coils. By any chance, while forming the coils, if the complementary bases comes together, immediately those two bases will join by the formation of the hydrogen bonds. By the hydrogen bonds to form two shapes. Different types of shapes have been formed. Most widely two shapes are being formed. That is the stem and loop shape and the bulges. Okay. So these shapes are being formed only when the complementarity works. The complementarity will works when the suitable ribonucleotides are coming together. So if there is A and if there is U during the coiling, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟುದ್ದ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ A ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ U ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಕಾಯಿಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ 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 ಬಂದು ಎರಡು ಹತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂತು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅವಾಗ ಇದು ಪಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಬೈಂಡ್ ಆದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಶೇಪ್, ರೈಟ್? ಇದೊಂದು ಲೂಪ್ ಆಯ್ತು ತಾನೆ ಇವಾಗ. ಸೊ ಲೈಕ್ ವೈಸ್ ದ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟಾರಿಟಿ ವಿಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ ಬೇಸಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ either stem and loop or they form the bulges. Okay, then the tertiary structure, third one. Tertiary structure. Tertiary structure is extra coiling. Extra coiling of the rRNA. So extra coiling of the rRNA, which makes, okay, which makes the structure to show its active sites. rRNA will be having the active sites. Active sites andre eno? The first thing is mRNA bandu namge bind agbeku ribosome ge, because rRNA is a part of the ribosome alva. ಸೊ ರೈಬೋಸೋಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ ಆರ್ಗನಲ್ಲೇ, ಅದ್ರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರೋ ಫಂಕ್ಷನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಯಾವುದು? rRNA. ಹೌದಾ? rRNA ಇವಾಗ ರೈಬೋಸೋಮ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಫಂಕ್ಷನಿಂಗ್. RNA is just one space, and the ribosome is just a space. rRNA is a functioning molecule. So ಈ functioning molecule ಗೆ active sites ಇರಬೇಕು. Active sites for what? The first thing is to bind with the proteins, and another one is, since it is forming a ribosome, if you remember during the translation process, there are three sites which are being formed: A site, P site, E site. Right? A site, P site, E site form ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮೂರು sites form ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ site form ಆಗಕ್ಕೂ ಮತ್ತು protein bind ಆಗಕ್ಕೂ 4 ಸೈಟ್ ಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಗೆ. A, P, E ಸೈಟ್ ಒಂದು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಬೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಸೈಟ್. ಈ 4 ಸೈಟ್ ಎದರಿಂದ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು? 4 ಸೈಟ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ rRNA ಇಂದಾನೆ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. You got it? rRNA should form all these 4 sites. So how is that formation taking place? ಆ ಸೈಟ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು? Now it has been bound. ಹೌದಾ? ಇವಾಗ ಸೆಕೆಂಡರಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು? A ಮತ್ತು U ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಎರಡು ಬಂದು ಒಂದು ಲೂಪ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು, right? Secondary structure ಅಲ್ಲಿ we saw the formation of a loop. Now let us imagine the A site is somewhere here hidden inside the loop. How is it going to be exposed? Expose ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಇವಾಗ A site. So now what the rRNA does is it starts extra folding. Extra folding ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ it ಹಿಂಗೆ fold ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Now it is exposed. Now the A site is exposed, right? Let us imagine A was here, P was here, E was here. Now I'm going to do this. So A is also exposed, E is also exposed, P is also exposed, and now it is supercoiling also, right? So now there is more extra coiling happening to expose various active sites. Various active sites like A, P, E. Okay, A, P, E, and protein binding site. See, now so we have a ribosomal structure. So in this ribosomal structure, we have 3 sites. Okay, the 3 sites are E site, P site, A site. Compulsorily, the sites should be named like this only: E, P, and A. Now, A site. A site is the attachment site. Okay, A site is the attachment site. So to what it attaches? So if you remember the process of the translation, during the translation process, okay, during the translation process, the tRNAs will get the amino acids. Those amino acids will be dropped into the A site. So this A site will attach to the amino acid. So it is attachment site. Then coming to the P site. P site, what happens? We call this P as a peptidyl site. Okay, peptidyl site. Here there is an enzyme called as peptidyl transferases. Okay, this peptidyl transferases will form the peptide bond between the amino acids. So the major function of the translation is, the motive of the translation is to produce the protein. What is a protein? Protein is an amino acid chain. And between the amino acids, what bond is present? Peptide bond is present, right? So where is that peptide bond formed? The peptide bond is formed. See, the first amino acid will come and get dropped here to the P site. Second amino acid, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the amino acids will serially come and get dropped here into the A site. So now between these two, the peptide bond is formed. Once the peptide bond is formed between these two, now the third amino acid is ready here. The third amino acid should come. But here there is no space because it is already filled with the amino acid, right? So now what happens? First amino acid will come to this E site. Second amino acid will come here. This third amino acid will get dropped here. Now again this bond is gone here, right? Here there is no bond yet. Now again the peptidyl transferases will make a bond here. Now fourth amino acid is coming here. Fourth amino acid. When the fourth amino acid comes, all the three are filled. There is no space. Now what happens? E site. We call the E as exit site. Okay, this E site will throw this first amino acid out. And now the second amino acid will come and shift here. So there is already a peptide bond between the first and second amino acid. So peptide bond. Now the third will shift here. Now between 2 and 3 also there was a peptide bond already. So peptide bond. Now the A is empty. Again the fourth one will get dropped here. So as soon as the fourth gets dropped here, between 3 and 4, once again the peptide bond has been formed. The fifth amino acid will come here now. When the fifth amino acid comes here, the first amino acid will move further. Second amino acid will come out. Between them there is already a bond present. The third amino acid will shift here. Between them there is already a bond present. Fourth amino acid will shift here. Between 3 and 4 there is already a bond. Now this fifth amino acid will drop to A site. There is no bond between them. Again the peptidyl transferase will form a bond. Like a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it goes on. How many ever amino acids? So exit site, peptidyl transferase site and A site. So these are the three active sites of the rRNA, and to expose these active sites, the structural complexity is being shown by the rRNA, or the coiling of the rRNA is majorly to expose the sites and to form the sockets. If it is simply linear, how will it form the sites? Sites andre eno basically namge ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್. ಎಂಜೈಮ್ಸ್ ಬಂದು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಕುತ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕೆಟ್. ಇದು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಡಿದ್ನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇದು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಡಿತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಇದನ್ನೇ ಅನ್ಕೋಣ ಎಂಜೈಮ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋಣ. ಸಾರಿ, ಇದನ್ನ ಎಂಜೈಮ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋಣ. RNA ಹಿಂಗಿದೆ, ಹಿಂಗಿಟ್ನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿದ್ದೋಯ್ತು ತಾನೆ. RNA ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಕಾಯಿಲ್ ಆಯ್ತು RNA. ಇವಾಗ ಹಿಂಗಿಟ್ರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಕುತ್ಕೊಳತ್ತಾ? ಕುತ್ಕೋತಿದೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ the structural complexity is very, very important. So from the primary structure, isn't it? Primary structure adru RNA ne, tertiary structure adru RNA ne. Hinge irbodalla, hangaga avashyakate enide? What is the need of the tertiary structure, right? So tertiary structure need enide antandre ee tara adu ಸಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಈ ತರ ಎಂಜೈಮ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೇ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಈ ತರ ಬಂದು ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿ ಗ್ರಿಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹಿಂಗಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಆನ್. ಯು ಗಾಟ್ ಇಟ್? ಸೊ ಟೆರಿಷರಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದೇನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ರೈಬೋಸೋಮ್ ಈ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು RNA ನೋಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಟೆರಿಷರಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ RNA. Clear? Huh? Okay. So primary structure, secondary structure and the tertiary structure. And remember the RNA is a, so is it visible? It is visible, it's been seen. RNA is a, rRNA is a non-coding RNA. It is a non-coding RNA. Non-coding RNA ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it doesn't code for any proteins. So mRNA is a coding RNA. Okay, mRNA is a coding RNA because it codes for the proteins, right? mRNA will carry the code to form the proteins, whereas rRNA is a non-coding RNA. It doesn't carry any code for the proteins. However, this rRNA will show the enzymatic activity sometimes. Enzymatic activity antandre during the bond formation, okay, during the bond formation as well as during the attachment of the RNA to the A site, attachment of the amino acids to the A site in the RNA. So during all these processes, the rRNA will show the enzymatic activity. So enzymatic activity bandaga, whenever the rRNA is performing the function of an enzyme, we call the rRNA as ribozyme. We call the rRNA as ribozyme. So this is one question which is being asked in many of the competitive examinations. ನಿಮ್ಮ PG entrance ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇವನ್ ಜಾಮ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಈ ವರ್ಡ್ ತುಂಬಾ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ರೈಬೋಸೈಮ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಂತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ವೆನ್ rRNA has catalytic activity. When rRNA has catalytic activity, we call it as the ribozyme. Catalytic activity and the enzymatic activity, right? Catalytic activity is enzymatic activity. So whenever we see the enzymatic activity, we call it as the ribozyme. Okay? Clear? Note it down. The next type of the RNA is transfer RNA. tRNA or the transfer RNA. So why is it called as the transfer RNA? Is because during the process of the translation, this RNA will transfer the amino acid from the cytoplasm to the site of the translation. Okay. So because of the transferring of the amino acid as its function, it is called as the transfer RNA. So this is around 15%. This is found around 15% of the total RNA. 15% of the total RNA is the tRNA. So now 80% is the rRNA, 15% is the tRNA, and 5%, 1 to 5% is the mRNA. Okay. So this is also called as adapter molecule. So why it is called as adapter molecule? Once we see the secondary and tertiary structure, I will explain it. Okay. But it is called as the adapter molecule. The structure of the tRNA again has 3 levels. Okay. So the structure has 3 levels. The first one is the primary structure. The first one is the primary structure, and the primary structure is again a linear structure. Linear structure. Remember, the tRNA is a very small molecule. Okay, it even does not have complete 100 nucleotides also. It has around 75 to 79 nucleotides. Aste iradu. One the structure of one the molecule of tRNA dalli we hardly have 75 to 79 number of the nucleotides aste. So very small molecule. Okay. So now It is a linear structure in case of the primary structure. Coming to the secondary structure. So secondary structure is formed by the pairing or the looping again. So because of the coiling of this single stranded RNA molecule, there is formation of the secondary structure. The secondary structure is usually seen in the form of a clover leaf. The secondary structure is usually studied in the form of a clover leaf. So, most famously studied clover leaf model of tRNA, which has been proposed by Jolly and Dickson. Okay, it is proposed by Jolly and Dickson. So, how exactly a clover leaf looks like? Clover ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಲ್ಪತ್ರೆ. ದೇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪತ್ರಿ ಏರಿಸ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಹೌದಾ? ಆ ಪತ್ರಿ ಹೆಂಗಿರತ್ತೆ? ಪತ್ರಿ ಹಿಂಗಿರತ್ತೆ. ಹಿಂಗೊಂದು ಲೀಫ್, ಹಿಂಗೊಂದು ಲೀಫ್, ಹಿಂಗೊಂದು ಲೀಫ್. ಹಿಂಗಿರತ್ತಾ? ಬಿಲ್ಪತ್ರ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ? So now, since it has 3 loop structures and 1 stem structure, they say that the tRNA in its secondary form will also have 3 loops and 1 stem, and hence it is called as a clover leaf model. Okay? So how exactly a clover leaf looks like? This is an clover leaf model. So since it should have a 5 prime and 3 prime, so this end is usually called as 5 prime and this end is called as a 3 prime structure. So in the 3 prime end we have C and A. C and A will be present in the 3 prime structure. So 3 prime alli namge ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? 3 prime alli namge OH ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So always at the 3 prime end we have a free OH group. So remember the chemical structure of the DNA and RNA, right? So 3 primes always we have free OH group. 5 primes we doesn't have the OH group there, right? So 3 prime OH group namge ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ now this is the place where the amino acids can come and bind. The major function of the tRNA is to carry the amino acid or the transfer of the amino acid to the transfer site, to the translation site, right? So how is it transferring? The amino acid will come and bind here. The amino acid will come and bind here. So this is the, I'll write a smaller one. This is the amino acid binding site. Okay, so this is amino acid binding site. So since it is capable of accepting the amino acid at the 3 prime end, this arm, we call this as arm. These are called as the arms and these are called as the loops. Okay, or sometimes we also call them as stem, loop, arm, loop. Okay, so this is having only the loop or this is having only the stem or the arm. So this doesn't have any loop, right? So this is called as the acceptor arm. It is called as the acceptor arm. Now coming to the next one. So here all we have the bases. Okay, so here all we have the bases. So here in the loops we have unpaired bases. In the stems we have paired bases. In the loops we have unpaired bases. Okay, In the loops, we have unpaired bases. In the stems, we have the paired bases. So now this structure, so this is called as T psi C loop and T psi C arm. So I'll write it here. This is called as T psi C. Okay, this is called as T psi C loop and arm. Take it. Now, what is this T psi C? I mean, what is the main function of this T psi C ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, during the formation of the translation, during the translation process, the amino acid which is attached to this tRNA should be dropped into the to the ribosome. We have just seen that structure, A site, P site, E site. ಈ ಸೈಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಹೌದಾ? ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? Who is getting the amino acid? tRNA is getting the amino acid. Now that when the tRNA comes to the ribosome, so if this is a ribosome, E site, P site, A site, okay? So when the tRNA molecule comes, the molecule will attach to the ribosome first. The molecule will attach to the ribosome and then will release the amino acid. So now this T psi C loop will help in the attachment of the tRNA to the ribosome. Okay, so if the tRNA molecule has to drop the amino acid to the ribosome, first it has to attach to the ribosome. First it has to attach, properly fix to the ribosome and then drop the amino acid. So this T psi C loop will help in the attachment of the tRNA molecule to the ribosome. Okay, then coming to this one. So here also it has unpaired bases. So this is called as DHU loop. This is called as DHU loop. So dihydrouridine loop. So here this is basically for the assessment or identification of a particular enzyme called as amino acyl tRNA synthetase. Amino acyl tRNA synthetase is an enzyme which helps in the translation process. Okay, so ಅದನ್ನ ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅಮೈನೋ ಅಸೈಲ್ tRNA synthetase ಅನ್ನ ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಬಿಗಿನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಾವು ಈ ಅಮೈನೋ ಅಸೈಲ್ tRNA synthetase ನ ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೈಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಡನ್ ಬೈ ದ DHU, recognition and binding of the amino acyl tRNA synthetase. Okay, binding and recognition of amino acyl tRNA synthetase. Okay, T psi C loop ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? T psi C loop ಅಲ್ಲಿ attachment of tRNA to ribose. Okay, and now coming to this last structure. So here this is called as anticodon loop, anticodon arm. T psi C loop, T psi C arm, DHU loop, DHU arm, anticodon loop, anticodon arm, acceptor arm. Okay, so now here anticodon loop, anticodon andre enu? Now these mRNA will be having codons. If genetic code odidira, hauda, every codon is a triplet codon. It means that there will be 3 nucleotides, there will be 3 bases in one codon, right? For example, AUG is methionine. So on the mRNA we have AUG. Now that AUG, okay, that AUG should be identified. That AUG should be identified first. ಆ AUGಗೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಿಥಿಯೋನಿನ್ನೇ ಬಂದು ಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಹೌದಾ? ಮಿಥಿಯೋನಿನ್ನೇ ಬಂದು ಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಮಿಥಿಯೋನಿನ್ನ ಯಾರು ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ? ಮಿಥಿಯೋನಿನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್. ಆ ಮಿಥಿಯೋನಿನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಈ TR ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಮಿಥಿಯೋನಿನ್ನೇ ಹೆಂಗ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬೇಕು? ಮಿಥಿಯೋನಿನ್ ಬದಲು ಲ್ಯೂಸಿನ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ TRNA ಹೋಗಿ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದೇ ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಿಥಿಯೋನಿನ್ ಇಸ್ AUG. AUG ದು ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟರಿ ಕೋಡಾನ್ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ? A ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ U, U ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ A, G ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ C. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಇದು ಆಂಟಿ ಕೋಡಾನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಆಂಟಿ ಕೋಡಾನ್ ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಆಂಟಿ ಕೋಡಾನ್ ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಅದೇ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಫಿನೈಲ್ ಅಲನೈನ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್. ಫಿನೈಲ್ ಅಲನೈನ್ ಕೋಡ್ ಏನು? UUU. ಹೌದಾ? UUU ಇಸ್ ಫಿನೈಲ್ ಅಲನೈನ್. ಅವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಆಂಟಿ ಕೋಡಾನ್ ಏನಿರ್ಬೇಕು? AAA ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ AAA ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಂಟಿಕೋಡಾನ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಬಂದು ಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ? ಫಿನೈಲ್ ಅಲನೈನ್ ಬಂದು ಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನೌ ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್? 20 types of amino acids are there. 20 types of amino acids ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರಕ್ಕೆ we have 20 different types of tRNAs. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಆಂಟಿಕೋಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು TRNAಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಆಂಟಿಕೋಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಂಟಿಕೋಡಾನ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿರೋದೇ 3 ಬೇಸಸ್. ಈ 3 ಬೇಸಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇಸಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇಸ್ ನಮಗ್ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇಲ್ಲ. we are only concerned with these 3 bases anticodon. Okay, so UAA. so ಈ UAA ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು mRNA ಏನ್ AUG ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆ AUG ಮೇಲೆ ಈ UAC ಹೋಗಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ರೈಬೋಸೋಮ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆದಾಗ ಆ AUGಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಈ UACಗೆ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟಾರಿಟಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟಾರಿಟಿ ಆದಾಗ ಓಕೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ TRNA ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ರೈಬೋಸೋಮಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾದಾಗ ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಫಟ್ ಅಂತ ಮಿಥಿಯೋನಿನ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈ ಸೈಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೀಳತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ is the secondary structure. Now there is one more small loop here which is called as variable loop. Okay, this is called as variable loop. So this variable loop is majorly for the stability. Okay, ಇದು ನಮಗೆ extra stability of the tRNA ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Clear with the structure? So this is a primary structure, this is a secondary structure. We also have a tertiary structure.